All right, babe. So we are in this series of talking about the lessons we've learned over 30 years of marriage. And so we're continuing the series today, and we're going to talk about a couple of key points. Wellness checks,
Yeah.
how important wellness checks are, and how important it is to see your spouse, not just on the surface, but really to dig deep and to see through them and past them. So we want to dig in and get started with that. So let's kick it off. Let's
All
talk
right.
about wellness checks. What
All right.
is a wellness check and what does that look like?
Oh, a wellness check is simply just making sure your spouse is okay, no matter where they are from, relational, um, emotional, but it's more so, are we okay?
Yeah,
So when we have a tendency to not always pay attention to our spouses. So me and you do this thing where every so many paces we'll say, "Hey, how are we doing?
yeah,
How?" And once we find out how we're doing, how are you doing? How's work?
yeah,
How's everything going on? With a genuine concern. So those are our wellness checks.
yeah, yeah. Why is wellness checks, why are they important though? What does that do for the marriage, for the individual, for the union? Why is it so important to do wellness checks?
Oh, that's a great question. Wellness checks are important because you want to know how to pray for your spouse. You want to know how to encourage your spouse. You want to know how you can serve them for that day.
Yeah,
Because there may be something going on. They may not be in the best. Even well, I would say this: even in a wellness check, your spouse may not always open up right away because there are times where you maybe couldn't frame it, or I couldn't frame what was really going on. But at least I had a starting point of knowing how to pray for you,
yeah,
what I could do to serve you that day. Maybe if it was cook dinner, clean the house, run your bath water, massage you. At least it gives me a starting point of discernment to be able to say, okay, well, let me serve you in this area, because we didn't always tend to each other
this is
in that
true.
way.
This is true. Yep. And I think that was a game changer for us when we started to do wellness checks with each other, because you need to know where your spouse is.
Yeah.
We need to know, I need to know, how are you today?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the, oh, I'm good, the surface level answer that a lot of times we give, but we needed to know, like, how are you really? What's going on? Just want to see, are we okay? Is there anything that you need from me that I'm not giving you in this season? Because given the season, that could change, right? What I needed a
Mm-hmm.
couple months ago may not be what I need today. So checking in often to see, okay, what do you need in this season? What can I do to make your day lighter or your week lighter? Depending on what you have on your plate at any given time, that can change.
Yeah.
And so it's important to know where your spouse is,
Mm-hmm.
so that way you know how to serve each other. And, it makes your marriage better too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you remember the first time my aunt and my uncle, my auntie Karen and my uncle Kevin, had we were spending some time at their house, and they were very, very instrumental with teaching us a lot of things young that we didn't implement. But they would get
Yeah.
the bottle of non-alcoholic, um,
Like bubbly, like
the
the
bubbly,
champagne.
and they showed, and then they would sit down and they would have a conversation with each other and kind of check on each other or tell each other what they admired about each other. You remember when they
I
showed
don't,
us
I don't
that?
remember that. No, no,
Oh
I remember
man,
us
yeah.
doing that.
That was
Maybe
my
not.
auntie Karen and Uncle Kevin that had taught us that,
Ah,
and that
okay.
because they were the
Okay.
first example that we seen do that,
Okay.
and it was like, oh wow. But we were young when we first started doing it. We didn't really understand the value of it at that time,
Yeah.
and not really understanding what it was setting a precedent for later on, because being able to take time to stop and to tend to each other is so important in a marriage,
Mm-hmm.
so important in any relationship, because you need to know it shows selflessness to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
It's not about
Yeah.
me, but it's about you. It's about our what's going on with you. As men, we tend to hold a lot of things in because sometimes we have a lot of more pressures and we deal with a lot more on the inside than we would show on the outside.
Yeah.
And so there are times where you've come to me and be like, "Hey, babe, are you good?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And it used to be a
Mm-hmm.
time you used to walk away.
Uh-huh.
You like, "Oh, you good? Oh, okay, you all right, good." And I used to be like, "That's it? You didn't take the shovel or you didn't take a hammer and you didn't dig any deeper."
Yeah.
Now, I thank God that you take time to dig a little bit deeper. You don't dig to a
Yeah.
place where you break something, you go so far down that you break
Mm-hmm.
something, but you dig enough to know, say, okay, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You can't articulate it right now, but do you need, I'll cook you dinner tonight, or
Mm-hmm.
you are, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful how God has allowed you to be sensitive in that area to know how far to go
Yeah.
and when to back off.
That's important too,
Mm.
because as women, we tend to want to dig deeper. And maybe that's the nurturing in us. We want to know, okay, well, why? You see, I'm the why woman.
Yo,
Wonder, well,
oh,
why?
whenever you say that, I go,
I
ugh.
know,
You're
right?
like, but why? But why?
because
You,
because I need to know.
yeah, yeah. You
But
always say you don't ask the right questions. I'm like,
right,
I'm asking the right
and you
question.
still don't.
I
But
ask
that's something
enough.
that I had to learn is yes, I want to know, okay, what's going on, but
Mhm.
learning when to back up, when to say, okay, you know what, he needs some space right now. Let me ease off, not pry, give him space that he needs. And then, maybe a few paces later, maybe the next day or a couple days later, I come back and revisit, hey babe, just wanted to check in. Or you'll come to me when you feel like I'm ready to talk now. Let me tell you what's been on my mind. So I
So,
appreciate that,
yeah,
and and appreciate the fact that I've learned when to
yeah,
speak, when to.
yeah. Because, okay, back in the day, I'm just using this as a point of reference.
Hmm.
You would hold everything in
I
and
would.
at one time, and I'd be like, "Whoa, slow down! What's wrong?" And it would come out like a burp, but everything would come out. I'm
Everything.
talking about
Yep.
you. I would be like, "Okay,
Yep.
clean up in aisle 7. It is a mad cleanup." At
Yep.
what point do you felt like you started getting comfortable with talking about things as they were, I would say, kind of happening?
You have been very instrumental because you are such a natural, yeah, you're such a natural communicator. You've always had the gift of communication. Even when we were very young, you didn't understand or wasn't fully developed at that time, of course. But as you got older, you matured, especially when you started maturing in God. Your communication level, God just took it to a whole nother level. And so most in most relationships, usually it's the woman that's the communicator and the man is the one that, he shuts down, he withdraws, he doesn't want to talk. But it's a complete role reversal with us,
I have my
you
moments
know.
though. I
Yeah.
have my times where I have to meditate. As a kid, I always held everything in.
Hmm.
As a kid, if something was, if something would happen, I would just, I would hold it in, and then I would self destruct.
Yeah.
And so, because I wasn't a healthy communicator as a child, or because communication wasn't really taught in a healthy manner,
Hmm.
because
You're told to
I t-
shut up.
yeah, you kids ought to
Don't
be
speak until spoken to.
seen and not heard growing up in the
Completely different
70s.
generation.
Oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
then, so when I found out how self destructive I was with my lack of communication, I started trying to learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
And because of my past, I have learned how to make sure that I stay in a place of community, in a healthy communicative place, because it does me good and it keeps me safe.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what communication does. It keeps you safe. It keeps your marriage
Mm-hmm.
safe because when you don't communicate what your needs are, what issues you're having,
Mm-hmm.
what you're going through personally, it can cause chaos
Yes.
in your marriage. And so I'm so thankful that I learned that from you, from your example of learning how to communicate. And of course it took years. And you never fully arrive, right? You're always a work in progress. And so for me, because I'm an introvert,
Mm-hmm.
my natural response is to go into my shell, go into my quiet place. I have to be really intentional with making sure that I'm being communicative.
Mm.
Um, because, like I said, it's easy for me to just go into my natural comfort zone of just in my own head and my own thoughts.
You know, it's funny. We had went to I think it was an art fair, and we were having a conversation about politics. And
I already know where you're going.
you just, yada, yada. I was like, whoa! I had
Ah,
never seen you so, and it was refreshing.
passionate.
Yeah, it was refreshing because you have moved past this place
Mm.
of just 2 or 3 word answers like one of our grandkids. You're like, how you doing? Fine.
Ah,
How was school? Good.
you know when you're funny.
You all right? Yes. And he's a talker, but you asked him a question.
You ask them the right
Yeah.
question, you're gonna get a response.
So that was so refreshing to me because it showed when you're passionate about something,
Yeah.
how well you'll take time to get your point across,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
how well you wanted me to understand your stance.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in relationships, in marriages. We should, in a healthy way, always be able to communicate where we are. If things
Yeah.
aren't good, we need to be able to communicate it. If things are going great, we should still be able to talk about it.
Mhm.
And we know that studies show that people have a difficult time talking about intimacy, they have a
Yeah.
hard time talking about finances, they have a hard time talking about when something has hurt them
Mhm. Mhm.
in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And so marriages
Without
tend to,
attacking each other.
without attacking each other.
Mhm.
And sometimes when things are presented, and that's what I love about the wellness checks, because it's, even though we may feel that something's wrong, we're not attacking each other to try to find out what's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what's wrong now? What's
Mhm.
going on with you now?
Yeah.
Why are you acting
It's
like that now?
always
It's
something.
always no. Yeah.
But then also, it's not always necessarily about what's wrong, but it's hey, what's going good. You
Yes.
need to hear appreciating each other. There's times when we'll just say to each other, I really appreciate you for, you know, what you did, the act of kindness. Like, I always tell you, babe, I thank you so much, for cooking dinner tonight. I thank you that you cleaned the house. I thank you that, you looked and said, okay, what can I do to make my wife's day better? You know, and I make it a point to let you know how much I appreciate that. One, there's a lot of husbands that don't do that. That won't cook, that won't clean, that won't take the time to make sure the household is in order, or make sure that the kids are taken care of, or to
Mhm.
check on their wife. So I appreciate the fact that that's what you do. I don't
Well,
take it
thank
for
you.
granted. And
Appreciate
so,
that.
and you do the same thing for me. If there's
Mhm.
something that I've done, you make a point to say, babe, I really appreciate how you saw me today. How you just, you took the time to stop and just to see, okay, babe, what's going on? I see something's, you're dealing with something. How can you pray for, how can I pray for you? So we make sure to show each other appreciation in those ways too. So that's important. It's not always about, well, something's wrong, but no, it's when it's good,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate it. Tell me about how good your day was today. It's all those things.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful for the space that God has allowed us to get to, because it took a lot of fasting and praying to get to the place to where I was able to communicate and be able to be open about how I felt while communicating.
Yeah.
Because when we, a lot of, because we faced the challenges, we faced the intimacy challenges where we
Mhm.
didn't talk about the struggles of intimacy.
Yeah.
We faced the financial challenges where we were a house
Mhm.
divided and we wouldn't talk about money.
Yep.
Your money was your money and my money was your money.
Yeah.
It was,
Mhm.
and so we didn't have the necessary tools to effectively say that this is how I'm feeling. You're lacking in this area, or you're this in this area, because it was like times that you would lash out based on your emotions.
Yeah.
And I went through a season where we were barely talking at all. It was like the enemy was attacking our household. There was so much going on. And my former bishop, he would tell me the enemy is attacking your home. You got to fast and pray.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
started my fasting life. because I'm like, okay, if the enemy is attacking my home, my family, my wife, the way us, me, then this kind only goes by prayer and fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that to me, I started fasting on how to handle situations. So it put me in a place where I had to learn how to listen to God in the most sacrificial way. And it taught me to be sensitive to you because I was
Yeah.
fasting and praying for us, fasting and praying for our family. And I tell people right now, fasting and praying is so important when it comes to a marriage. Fasting and praying is so important when it comes to relationships because it makes you sensitive
Yeah.
to what's going on. It makes you sensitive to that person.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Sensitive to the Lord's
to the
voice to
Lord's
tell you, to
voice.
give you direction on how to handle situations.
Yes, discernment. That's
Discernment.
where I was getting to.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to discern what you're wrestling against because the word says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So there are often times that we are trying to get something out of someone and they're wrestling with something internal
Yeah.
that they may not even know what's going on. But the discernment of the Holy Spirit through the Holy Spirit will show you it's not you.
Yeah.
Because there are times that as we were learning how to communicate, if I would say it's all right, everything's all right, and you would start internalizing like, well, what did I do? Did I do something? Is it us?
Yeah.
Is it not? Say no, it's not us.
Yeah.
But you're acting like it's us. Like
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not us. But you're acting like it's us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so discernment in prayer taught me how to respond and to be sensitive to you when you felt like maybe it is us. So he would give me the words to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I just want to let you know it has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It's just X, Y, and Z space. And I saw you being more at ease.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But had I not had a life of fasting and praying, then I don't know if I would have had the wisdom to be able to discern like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That brings me to another point, is how powerful it is to see your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not just the surface, but to see through them and past them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, tell me about the first time that the Lord allowed you to really see through me and past me. And what does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's good. So before the Lord shared that with me, I was out with my mentor, my pastor, and Bishop Jack Perkins. So me and him was
Mm-hmm.
out. We were out, and just one of our lunch, just one of our casual lunch times, just kind of catching up and sharing things with the Lord. And so we were leaving the restaurant, and he said something to me. He said, "The Lord said, save your wife from her past."
Mm.
And when he said that, I literally, it was like electricity went through my body. And I literally started crying in the parking lot. I have never heard anything, save your wife from her past.
Yeah, that was powerful.
And and then later in my meditation time, because anytime God shares anything with me through someone, be it a prophetic word or word of encouragement, I meditate on that word.
Yeah.
Lord, was this you? But I knew because of the way that electricity hit my body when he said that and the tears began to
Mm.
fall, I knew that that was from God.
Yeah.
So I said, Lord, how do I implement this? What does this look like? What
Mm-hmm.
how do I save her from her past? Now, part of that was we have a tendency sometimes to bring up the past. We have a and not that we're purposely trying to do it, but sometimes we have a habit of, or we could get in a habit of bringing things up that happened prior to
Mm-hmm.
that you
Mm-hmm.
keep reliving the same thing.
Yeah.
So as I was meditating on that, he said, it's not what you see through that and see past that.
Mm.
For you wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. You're not wrestling with what you see.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, wow. So what it positioned me and what it means was I started handling you like you belong to God, not like the decisions
Yeah.
you made in the past.
Yeah.
I started handling you with a sensitive hand, knowing that whatever you've been through caused a chain reaction.
Mm.
I was sharing with you the other day, I think it was yesterday, and I was saying we're a raindrop in an ocean,
Mm-hmm.
but even a raindrop makes a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And so life, your past had ripples effects on your decisions. It wasn't anything based against me, but it was the decisions it was what you had been through. And when I started loving, it caused me to love you from a different perspective.
Yeah.
It started
Yeah.
causing me to love you in a different way. It caused me to see you in such a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that transformed, that's when I understood love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life as a ransom. Because God doesn't deal with us based on our past, he deals with us based on what he did for us on the cross for our past.
Yeah.
We're forgiven.
Yeah.
And it taught me how to forgive quickly. Things that I had maybe been wrestling with, it was like instantaneous forgiving. It was like,
Mm.
wow, wow. So it was instantaneous. Let it go.
Yeah.
Never bring up anything from the past anymore. I mean, we joke about certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like
Mm-hmm.
any past traumas, let them go
Yeah.
because you understand that that was not her. That was something she was wrestling with. Now, don't handle her based on what she did in her past.
Yeah.
Handle her like you see her future.
Yeah. And how you started loving me different is indescribable. And just how healing that was for me, the way you started loving on me. Till this day, the way that you love me is so different. It covers me. Um, it makes me emotional just thinking about it because it really changed my entire life, my entire perspective. Um, it was so much healing that I found in the way that you loved me. And sometimes people need to be loved through, circumstances and their things that they've gone through. And that's what that looks like. The way that you cover me with your love is in your prayers, and just how you handle me is so different. And so, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of it, the foundation, we go from faith to faith.
Yeah.
And the foundation of it all started with fasting and praying. That was literally the foundation of it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that that was the foundation. And the more I matured, you had to mature to be able to see past someone, to see through someone, and to see past someone.
Hmm.
Meaning that you see that that's not them, and then what caused them to get to that place. And I often think when the Lord allowed me to, when He showed me that with us, and it became a part of who we are. Now it has extended out into people I deal with in everyday life.
Yeah.
I'm not quick to get an attitude or angry about something because I don't know what somebody's going through. So I'm very patient with
Yeah.
how I respond to things. Because if we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, and something happens, I used to teach this years ago when I was a senior pastor. I used to teach this that a spirit is looking for someone to fulfill that spirit's desire, whether it's lust, murder, envy, because the spirit could never fulfill its own desire.
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
looks for a host. That's why he says, resist Satan and he will flee from you. If
Yeah.
you submit yourself to that desire, if you submit yourself to that rage, if you submit yourself to that lust, if you submit yourself to that envy or to that covetousness, it brings on so much more. Now you are now desiring something that you were never intended to, or desire, or fighting against something you never was intended to fight against, because our job is to resist.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it allows me now to walk in a different mindset,
Yeah.
because if I'm out somewhere and something happens, the discernment is, well, what spirit was that?
Yeah.
What is that spirit trying to do? Is it trying to cause confusion? Is it a murderous spirit? And
Hmm.
so that literally not only transformed our marriage, but it transformed my life
Yeah. Yeah.
big time.
Man. Um, there's a couple of other examples that I thought about in terms of seeing through, your spouse. And one thing that comes to mind for me is times there's been a couple of times where you were really um, going through some difficult times, some challenges, and you came to me and said, "Well, babe, I really need to take a break from work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, will you cover me, during this time?"
Mm-hmm.
And so um, I'm so thankful um, that I did that. And oftentimes, a lot of times women would be like, "Well, no, you know, you're the man. It's your job to do X, Y, and Z." But we cover each other. And there's been times where vice versa, where I wasn't working and you took on the load. And because of things that I was dealing with when I went back to school. And so doing things in the natural in that way, to cover each other and make sure that, each other is
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yep.
Those are other things that I thought about as well.
Yeah, having a high stress career,
Yep.
I've been through the burnout, a severe burnout.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're in a high stress career, and or you're in a space to where people pull on you a lot, people
Yeah.
depend on you, you have to constantly answer question after question. You got to
Yeah.
solve problem after problem. My burnout did something to me.
Yeah.
It literally changed the way that I get tired. It changes the way that I function. And I remember Bishop Perkins said this to me. We were in the basement of the church, and I was going through a season where I had to rest. And I had walked away from pastoring, and that was the hardest thing to do was step down from being senior pastor,
Mm-hmm.
doing the things that there was so much going on in my life. But he said if I had not made that decision, then I'd have died.
Yeah.
There was so
Yeah.
much stress on me. Even when I was seeing a therapist, there had been so many things that had happened. He said that I would not, I'm trying to get the words that he said, that he would have labeled me to have suffered with the PTSD. Was that because there were
Yeah.
some big traumatic things that have happened? But he didn't want to label that, but he said that's where he was at. That's how traumatic and the things that I had gone through
Yeah.
that had caused me to go through the burnout and the brokenness, and then trying to do so much.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when you're in a high stress career, our career, and I'm going to go into my career right now, but our
Yeah.
career, a lot of people burn out
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
after so many years. People just burn out, and so having you to be able to reciprocate that and to see that
Yeah.
where I can step back for a short time and then get back into my career
Yeah.
was beautiful because my health was being affected,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I thank God that the Lord allowed that and sustained us.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
were times that we saved up
Absolutely.
and we would use our savings
Yeah.
to carry us through, but I always had a plan to
Yeah. Yeah.
into get back into the workforce, or I
Yeah.
had a plan, or there would be ministry things that came up. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Because
very
it's not like
thankful.
you were just sitting back and,
Oh,
eating
playing video
bonbons,
games
playing
and
video
ice
games.
cream.
It was truly a season where you literally, for your mental health, for your physical health, that was on the line.
Hmm.
And and so as your wife, it was my job to make sure that you were covered, that you were protected. And if that meant, babe, take a step back for X amount of time, get your health back in order, and then come back, baby, I got you. And so you did that for me several times throughout
Well,
the years.
I wouldn't want to say all of that. I'll mention all of that, but
but
yeah,
but it's reciprocated
yep.
because you'll have seasons where
Hmm.
we may need to do that for each other,
Yeah,
through sickness and health. That's
yeah.
what that means, that I got you. I'm with you through sickness, whether it's a physical sickness, whether it's a mental situation, whether, regardless of what it is, that I'm here and I have your back and I have you covered. And so those are other ways where it's important to see your spouse and what season that they're in and say, I need to step up.
Mhm.
Because marriage isn't always 50-50. Sometimes it's 80-20. Sometimes
Well,
it's,
it's 100.
100. Yeah.
It's
So it
100
depends on the
all the
season.
time. So I got a question that I want to ask our viewing audience.
Okay.
How comfortable if your spouse was to come to you and say, I am at a place of burnout. I am at a broken place and I need to take some time to refresh. How open would you be to your spouse to allow them that opportunity to break away for their so they for their own mental stability or their physical stability? How
Yeah.
well are and how well do you see your spouse? Do you see through your spouse? Do you see past your spouse? Do you hold things over your spouse's head and bring
Mm-hmm.
things up as a constant reminder to them of what they did and constantly reminding yourself of the pain and the trauma that you went through,
Using it as a weapon.
using it as a weapon?
Yeah.
And so we oftentimes have to remember that, yes, traumas hurt, things happen, but when we allow God to truly heal, and every time when he heals, Satan is going to try to bring it up. And every time he does, you have the responsibility to say, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Yes, they may have made a
Mm-hmm.
mistake, but I forgive them. I forgive them and I love them. Why? Because I am loved and I have been forgiven. Marriage is
Amen.
such a beautiful gift from God. It is such a beautiful gift. And I thank God that I
Yeah.
have a partner like you. I thank God that we've grown. You know,
Yeah.
there's always the old saying, the grass is not always greener on the other
That's a
side.
true saying.
What I've learned is I have fertilized my grass, I
Mm-hmm.
have dethatched my grass, I have weed whacked my grass, I've watered my grass, I've seeded my grass, I have filled in the dirt patches and with seeds and and my yard is beautiful because I took time to cultivate it.
Yeah.
I took
Yeah.
time to make sure that I cultivated you the way that I felt God would be pleased.
Yeah.
When he says, "Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life as a ransom," I take that serious.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
take that serious. So we just want to thank you for taking a few moments to listen to our journey and our story. And we pray that something was said today that would be a blessing to you, something that
Mm-hmm.
would encourage you, something that would allow you to see through your spouse and past your spouse. And do a wellness check every so many
Yes.
paces. Ask your spouse, "How you doing? How we doing? You good? You are we good? And
Mm-hmm.
are you good?" The benefit of making sure that each other okay is okay far outweighs just ignoring the symptoms. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, will you ignore your health symptoms? Will you ignore the symptoms if something is going on in your body? And you know, if you ignore it and you're afraid to address it, about time you do address it, sometimes things can be out of hand.
Yeah.
It can be the same thing in marriage. Yes, it may feel uncomfortable and it may be a little bit scary to deal with it, but please, by all means, don't allow it to just go on and on. And then when it's time to deal with it, now it's worse off than it ever could have been.
Yeah.
Thank you, babe, for the interview.
Yes. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And next time I'll be interviewing you.
All right, that sounds good.
Any
Oh,
last
and then
words?
also make sure to please like and subscribe. We appreciate your support in helping us get this out to the masses. This is a ministry. We take this serious. We're passionate about marriage ministry, about supporting and encouraging marriages. So please help us get the word out by liking and subscribing to our channel. We appreciate you so much, and we welcome you to stay with us as we continue on our journey and creating these videos and supporting you all as well.
That's
I
it.
think that's it.
That's it. All right. Be blessed. Love one another. Pray for one another. Keep each other encouraged and keep each other lifted. All right. God
Stay
bless.
blessed.